Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are continuing to read Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. Itsaran Sharma. Swamiji was going higher, hither and thither. He was getting whatever collection he could and depositing them. And he was always mixing with many persons going hither and thither. With me, he was very fond that I should do everything as soon as possible. He had a great haste. He used to say, time is going, quick, do it. He would be annoyed with me also, and he would have me do his work first. But I was in the service of Dalmia, and I would tell him, your work has to be secondary for me. But he would say, now you have wasted my 2 days. What is this, Swamiji? I'm coming here. I told you in the morning to do this, and you have not done it even now. But I would reply, I have got no time during the day. And then he would say, then you have wasted my complete day. So he was very much pressing me. This was his temperament. The, the binding was reddish, the color of the earthen brick, and was inlaid with gold lettering. Bhaktivedanta Swami had designed the dust jacket himself, and he had commissioned a young Bengali artist named Salit to execute it. It was a wraparound picture of the entire spiritual and material manifestations. Dominating the front cover was a pink lotus, and within its all were Radha and Krishna and their pastimes in Vrindavana, along with Lord Chaitanya chanting and dancing with his devotees. From Krishna's lotus planet emanated yellow rays of light. In that effulgence were many spiritual planets appearing like so many suns. Sitting within each planet was a different four-armed form of Narayana, each with his name lettered beneath the planet. Trivikrama, Keshava, Purushottama, and so on. Within an oval at the bottom of the front cover, Mahavishnu was exhaling the material universe. On the inside cover was Bhaktivedanta Swami's explanations of the cover illustration. When the printing and binding were completed, there were 1100 copies. Bhaktivedanta Swami would receive 100 copies and the printer would keep the balance. From the sale of the 100 copies, Bhaktivedanta Swami would continue to pay off his debt to the printer and binder. Then he would receive another supply of books. This would continue until he had finished paying his debt. His plan was to then publish a second volume from the profits of the first and third volume from the profits of the second. Pantvedi went to pick up the first 100 copies. He hired a man who put the books in large baskets, placed them on his hand truck, and then hauled them through the streets to the Chippiwada temple, where Bhaktivedanta Swami stacked them in his room on a bench. Bhaktivedanta Swami went out alone to sell his books and present them to important people. Dr. Radhakrishnan, who gave him a personal audience, agreed to read the book and write his opinion. Hanuman Prasad Poddar was the first to write a favorable review. It is a source of great pleasure for me that a long cherished dream has materialized and is going to be materialized with this and the would be publication. I thank the Lord that due to His grace, this publication could see the light. Bhaktivedanta Swami went to the major libraries, universities, and schools in Delhi, where the librarians found him calm and quiet, noble, polite, scholarly, with a specific glow in him. Traveling on foot, he visited school administration offices throughout the Delhi and placed the copies in more than 40 schools in the Delhi area. The Ministry of Education, which had previously denied him assistance, placed an order for 50 copies for selected university and institutional libraries throughout the India. The ministry paid him 600 rupees plus packing and postage charges, and Bhaktivedanta Swami mailed the books to the designated libraries. The US Embassy purchased 18 copies to be distributed in America through the Library of Congress. The institutional sales were brisk, but then sales slowed as the only agent Bhakti Vedanta Swami was now spending hours just to sell a few copies. He was eager to print the second volume, yet until enough money came from the first, he could not print. In the meantime, he continued to translating and writing purpose. Writing so many volumes was a huge task that would take many years, and at his present rate, with sales so slow, he would not be able to complete the work in his lifetime. Although there were many who took part in the production of the book, and still others who became customers only, Bhakti Vedanta Swami deeply experienced the successes and failures of the venture. It was his project and he was responsible. No one was eager to see him writing up prolifically, and no one demanded that it to be printed. Even when the sale slowed to trickle, the managers of OK Press were not distressed. They would give him the balance of his books only when he paid for them. And since it was also he who had the burden of hiring OK Press to print a second volume, the pressure was on him to go out and sell as many copies of the first volume as possible. For Hanuman Prasad Poddar, the volume had been something to admire in passing. For Itzaran Sharma, it had been something he had tended to after his day's work for Mr. Dalmia. For the boy who lived at Chippiwada, the book had meant a few errands. For the paper dealers, it had meant a small order. For Dr. Radhakrishnan, it had been but the slightest, soon forgotten matter in the life, crammed with national politics and Hindu philosophizing. But Bhaktivedanta Swami, by his full engagement in producing the Bhagavatam, felt bliss and assurance that Krishna was pleased. He did not, however, intend for the Bhagavatam to be his private affair. It was sorely needed medicine for the ills of Kali Yuga, and it was not possible for only one man to administer it. Yet he was alone, and he felt exclusive pleasure and satisfaction in serving his Guru and Lord Krishna. Thus, his transcendental frustration and pleasure mingled, his will strengthened, and he continued alone. His spiritual master, the previous spiritual masters, and the Vedic scriptures all assured him that he was right. If a person got a copy of Bhagavatam and read even one page, he might decide to take part in Lord Chaitanya's movement. If a person seriously read the book, he would be convinced about the spiritual life. The more this book could be distributed, the more people could understand Krishna consciousness. And if they understood Krishna consciousness, they would become liberated from all problems. Book selling was real preaching. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had wanted it, even at the neglect of constructed temples or making followers who could preach as well as Srimad Bhagavatam. Certainly, whoever spent 16 rupees for a book would also take the time at least to look at it. In the months that followed, Bhaktivedanta Swami received more favorable reviews. The prestigious Adyar Library Bulletin gave a full review, noting the editor's vast and deep study of the subject and concluding further volumes of this publication are eagerly awaited. His scholarly godbrothers also wrote their appreciation. Swami Ban Maharaj, rector of the Institute of Oriental Philosophy in Vrindavan, wrote, I have nothing but admiration for your bold and practical venture. If you should be able to complete the whole work, you will render a very great service to the cause of Prabhupada Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the country also. Do it and rest assured there will be no scarcity of resources. We can stop here. So as we see, it took a lot of determination, self-motivation and Krishna's mercy, for Prabhupada to print these books, coordinate with everybody, and still he has to translate, he has to market, he has to run from, everything to do on his own, even though there is little support and, encouragement. And all this he did for, Krishna and benefit of everybody. So even now, some of us will buy the books, but we may not give enough attention as needed. But here, it helps us understand how important and how precious and the work behind having this literature, in front of us in the English language.